Hello, it's Nikki. I've tried to record this video about 8 times. Luna was sitting on my lap and she was yawning through most of it. I'm trying not to take it personally, but she's now gone to bed. I think she was tired. Anyway, there's nothing worse actually than being judged by a member of your own family like yawn, boring, average content. This is not average content, by the way. I've got some goodies for you today. What I want to talk about is a phrase that you might be feeling slightly agitated about, like I am, which is next year is going to be the best year ever. Or, because we're going into a new decade, 2020, this decade is going to be the best decade ever. What does it mean? Seriously, what does it mean? Because it's meaningless if we don't know what it means. And this is the thing, it means completely and utterly different things to everybody. But we can't just keep saying to ourselves we're going to have the best year ever, because it's not almost giving us a process to work through. So quite a lot of the time, sometimes my clients will say, like, I just want to feel happier, or I just want to earn more money, or I want to feel like I'm doing more of what I love. And for me as their coach, it's really important that I go into those specifics, like, what does this look like? Okay, let's break it down. Let's get into the nitty gritty, because we all want to know whether we're on track or not. We want to be able to figure out, like, oh, am I on or am I off? So simply saying I'm having the best year ever, yes, of course it's going to raise your vibe. I'm not going to go into the physics side of this, but yeah, it's going to probably attract more opportunities, because you're going to have conversations with people. You're probably going to leave the house. You may be going to put some makeup on. You're maybe going to send that email because you're like, oh, well, this is going to be the best year ever, so I'm going to get a really positive result. So it's probably going to get things moving. But unless you know what those actions are, and unless you know what those desired outcomes are, it's kind of pointless, because what you're going to end up doing is just working really hard, or just being like Alec Baldwin's character in Friends, like, this is amazing, look at the sky, look at the trees, oh, I'm having the best day of my life. Which is all good. We want to have those days. And I don't want to come across as a cynic by any means. I'm the biggest dreamer of them all. I have lots of exciting plans for 2020. And 2019 for me has been amazing in lots of different ways. But in other ways, it's been very challenging. And some of those have been through being pregnant for a lot of them, and a lot of months in 2019, and feeling really rubbish and having quite a few scares along the way. That was really tricky. But also there were a few things that I thought I would do, or I thought I would be sort of further on with, that just haven't happened yet. And I can end up feeling like I'm frustrated or angry, or any of the emotions, that things haven't happened. But what is a better use of my time, I've figured out, is to go, yeah, but was I being really specific with that? Was I just being a bit general and sort of hoping that the universe might just hear my request and deliver? No, because I wasn't clear on what I was focused on or what I was going for. So my question first and foremost is for you to decide, to consider, to think about, what is going to be your best year ever. Because in another aside here, January the 1st, yeah, it's the first day of the year. It's a great time to get things moving and shaking. And, quite a lot of us do like that January the 1st type moment. But it doesn't help us really, in terms of, it's not good for boosting morale. It's usually really cold, it's wet, it's maybe snowing, the light goes really early, and maybe we've had a light night the night before, so maybe we're a bit hungover. We've had all those Christmas, things going on, and often on New Year's Day, I don't know if it's the same in your house, where we always kind of grew up with this. Like, my mum would literally be pulling out any dregs of anything vaguely Christmassy and putting it on a table and basically going, can you just eat everything, because then it can go and we don't have to do this Christmas thing anymore. She does like Christmas, but I know that sense actually of like, come on, let's like get into this new year. So all of that stuff is going on. Now, when I was thinking about what I wanted to do for January and how I wanted to support clients and support you, I was firstly excited because this January I won't be lying on my bathroom floor throwing up 18 times a day, winning, because I was really sick in my pregnancy. But this year, I feel like I'm going to have lots of energy to support you. And this year, it's about getting really specific, because quite often people can just sort of set these lofty things like, I just want to earn more money, or I just want to make progress. And it can be really difficult to know what that means unless you figure that out. So, what I want to do is hold a really lovely space. So, starting on December the 30th, all the way through into January, because we all know this moment, don't we? We get to about the 17th of January and like, this feels really hard work, or I'm not getting the results that I want, or yeah, I was really into exercising outside, but now it started to snow and I don't want to do that anymore. We all have those various wobbles. So what I want to create is a virtual sort of like sit round in a circle, but like not sitting on the floor on a cold hard church hall, we've all been to those things, but sitting like in a really lovely chair with beautiful lights and candles, and imagine this all virtually. And what I want to provide are 5 trainings to help you work through a process rather. So even in January, sometimes we can feel like we have to see all the rewards, we have to reap all of the things. And I was doing a video about this the other day. Sometimes it takes a while for us to actually see the crop come through. Sometimes we do have to have those times where you're setting the seeds. So that's sort of what the January focus is going to be. So starting with week 1, we're going to be looking at reflections. So thinking about this year, what's gone on, and you'll get a weekly training throughout this process. Secondly, let me just pull up my notes. We're going to be looking at clarity. So getting really specific on what is on the list for this year. What is the stuff that you want to do? And again, these don't have to be things like win an Oscar or get a book deal. It will be your own version. There'll be some big goals, there'll be some massive goals, there'll be some tiny goals. Like for me, sorting an online shop on the regular with good food is going to be one of them. Also shopping locally, also chucking stuff out, not in the bin, but like doing a decluttering session regularly so things don't get up on top of me. There's going to be all those sort of things. So I'm going to be helping you with that process too. Week 3, we go to strategy. So how are you actually going to get from where you are right now to where you want to go? So instead of saying every day, like I've been to so many of those talks where people just tell me to think positively or just keep going, like, I don't know what you mean. So working through a strategy that's actually going to keep moving you forward and keep you on track so you know that you're doing it. This is so important, because when things become a bit vague or we're not really sure what we're doing, that's when things just kind of fall off a little bit. So it's almost like you being that person of taking charge and going, right, we're going to do this. Like on Christmas Day when you have all your family standing in your kitchen and everybody's sort of milling around going, anything I can do? What we do I need to cook anything? It needs somebody to go, right, this is the first thing, this is how we're going to work through it, this is how we're going to progress, etc. And it's kind of like that with your goals, with your to-do list, your dreams. You've got to take charge of it, and you've got to figure out what it is as well. 4, week 4 rather, is going to be talking about money. So how are you going to make money this year? How are you actually going to bring in income? What kind of income do you want to bring? What do you want to not spend money on? Where do you need to invest? How can you make really great money goals? Because again, sometimes people will say, like, you know, if I ask them how much do you want to make this year, people go, I don't know, 100 grand. And I'm like, is that net? Is that profit? What we talking here? What is, like, is it turnover? What are we saying? Is this before tax, after tax? What is it? And I think we're conditioned as well with all of these sort of sales funnels of 6-figure years or like 10 grand months or whatever. It's like, what do those actually mean? So focusing on your money, and this training again will give you real insight in terms of what's happening and what you maybe need to do less of and more of and all of that sort of stuff. The 5th week together will really be about consolidating everything and really making a specific plan. So I'm saying this to you who may be a fellow notebook, journal, stationery junkie like I am. Sometimes we can write all our ideas down on these, this is the thing. Sometimes we don't even write them down. We'll start on page 1 and go, oh no, that wasn't my neatest writing. I'm just going to have to leave it there for a while because it's not perfect anymore. And I've destroyed it. Oh gosh, I don't know how to move forward. Or we go the other way where we just write loads of ideas down in a notebook and then we close the notebook and never do anything with it. And then we find it later and actually that was a really good idea. Should have done something with that. So this is really going to be about how can you collect your ideas? How can you make a plan? And how can you do it in a way that you're actually going to do it and how you're going to progress? Now, my aim is, because I don't want to run a monthly thing for every month of the year, I want to run these things every quarter. So in January, in April, in July, in October. So you have this safe place to keep coming back. Because one thing I wanted to say also is, especially around this time of year, you will have lots of feedback and chat from all the people. Some people in your life only pop up once a year and they'll give you that raised eyebrow and that really? Or how do you make money from that then? And it's kind of loaded feedback. Let's just say. And so actually by the time we get into January, you'll probably want to be in a community of people who are going, go on, yeah, you can do it. Tell me. Nobody's going to go, dreaming a bit big there, love. No, what are you doing? In fact, it's going to be the opposite. No, I'm excited. Let's do this. Let's go. So the way it's going to work, you're going to get a training every single week. So the 30th, the 6th, the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th on those different topics that I told you about. But also you're going to get a lovely Facebook group where I'm going to be in there every day supporting you, giving you little prompts, and they're all going to be around the themes of the weeks as we go forward. So I think that's everything I have to say. I would love to see you in there. Please really think about how you're actually going to make this happen. So how you're going to close that gap from oh yeah, this year is going to be my year, to actually doing it and making it your year, because it's going to be different for each and every one of us what success means. And having made, I think, 120 episodes of the podcast now, interviewing 110, 120, however many it is, women, success looks very different to us all. So come on over. There's an early bird price until the 20th of December, which I believe is tomorrow. Also, there's a bundle. So if you and a pal want to come in for a bit of moral support, there's a lovely sort of twin discount as well. And also some opportunities to work with me one-on-one and to guide you through this process. Anyway, any questions, just message me. But you can also check everything in the link, nickyraby.com/2020. I'll see you in a bit.